those of you who filled out our poll on, what do you tune into most on Monday meetings? A lot of you liked lead generation stuff. A lot of you liked, the contracts and disclosures and risk management. I think there was like a 0 for mindset, which truthfully should be at the top of what of where you should be if you're trying to generate more business. And so I'm gonna just briefly touch on some mindset stuff and getting prepared, and then you can implement the roadmap of what to do to generate the listings consistently every month, every week. It just depends on how much you're accelerating this. So the very first thing, and I've harped on this many times in the past, I'm not going to go real deep into mindset stuff. I have recorded webinars in our YouTube channel if you want to watch that stuff where I do a deeper dive. But getting into the right mindset, a growth mindset, when you're doing lead gen, when you're building your business, especially from ground up, is paramount. Otherwise, what you're doing is just not going to work. Just do whatever it's going to take to motivate you, to create some passion in your business, and do that thing. It doesn't work when you're trying to, create this better lifestyle so that you will feel better. It's actually the other way. You have to feel better first, and then the lifestyle and what you're setting your goal for starts coming to you. And I just have a quick story on that real quick, but while I'm going through that, if you listen to podcasts, if you're a reader, I gave some examples that I pulled off the internet here that, and a few of them I've read and listened to. Here's some ones that you can, start listening to get your mind in that growth mindset, and just start listening to what other successful agents are doing, have done, things like that. If you don't know, I got in this business in 2003. I started in Las Vegas. I'm a California native, but I was living in Las Vegas at the time. I was working a different job. I quit that job, got into real estate, and did pretty well out in Vegas. But then the market crash happened, and, come 2008, 2009, I mean, I was just really beat down. I was struggling financially, and obviously that kind of stuff takes a toll on a marriage and things like that. And I just generally wasn't feeling good about myself. I had gained a lot of weight. I was really overweight. I was not eating well. I didn't feel good. And basically, one day I just kind of got up and I said, I'm sick of feeling like this. I'm sick of my business, being where it is, which was basically, I don't want to say non-existent, but we were really struggling to get by, because I just wasn't generating the sales that I used to. And it was a lot because my mindset and how I felt about myself. So one day I was just tired of it. I woke up and I wasn't sleeping really. I was just stressing like all night long. And I just got up and I went for a run. I didn't have the proper running gear or anything. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I was just like, I just have to go do something, and that really was the start of me turning my life around, I guess, if you want to put it that way. From then on, I started, making it a point to go on a run every day. I switched from, early morning runs to like super late in the night runs, which was just working for me at the time. And then that shifted to more of an afternoon run as the years went on. But, I dropped 60 pounds in the course of about a year, just from running. I was eating better. I was drinking energy drinks all the time. I stopped drinking those. I switched over to coffee, which I don't know if that's better or not. But long story short, It wasn't until basically I did something about myself that my business started to follow suit. So as I started feeling better about myself and gaining confidence and wanting to go out in public and do things, that's when my business really started to take a turn for the better. And I was able to pull out of this really horrible rut I was in, and just kind of maintain it. Now, obviously, there's ups and downs as you go on, but the market for the past 18 months, I mean, we talked to a lot of agents here looking to join the company. I think we've hired about 20 agents already this month. So I talked to a lot of agents, and I hear a lot of, I guess, exhaustion, some fear, some, discouragement with how things have gone over the past 18 months, and it's been tough for a lot of people. So, getting into the right mindset really, really, really is where you need to start. And again, I'm not going to go through the whole thing of what to do and how to do it. I have other webinars on that, but I am going to provide a few links and some suggestions if you want to at least start hearing some stuff. I used to play stuff on a loop behind me when I was working, when I was going through my, transition to a healthier lifestyle. And I had certain videos and stuff that I would just play in the background over and over and over again, just to drown out any negativity that I had. So that's basically step one. Step two, you have to create a budget. I talk to real estate agents all day long, and they say they don't have a budget, they don't have any money, they can't even put $50 towards, any sort of lead generation or systems or anything. And really, this needs to be a top priority. And every successful business out there has some sort of budget that they work with for advertising. Mom and pop shops, retail, whatever it is you're looking at, they have an advertising budget, and that's what keeps them going. So especially if they're a newer business, which, a lot of us on these calls are newer to the business, or we're getting back in, or we're trying to get started up, or whatever it is, but you have to make room in your budget for some advertising so that you can get out of this rut that you might be in right now. So my suggestion is to find $300, which sounds like a lot of money for some of you, especially if you're kind of month to month on paychecks and different things like that. But you really need to make it happen, and you have to get uncomfortable, and you have to make some sacrifices to find that money in your budget so that you can properly start your real estate business moving forward. So getting uncomfortable, that is where the magic happens. If you're just staying within what you're comfortable in all the time, you're never going to grow. Things you can do, reducing bills, things like that. Truthfully, it's a lot easier to go make money than it is to save money, but trimming up some of the spending you have is a great place to start. Just get uncomfortable. Check out your subscriptions and streaming services. I review these all the times because, we start subscribing to all kinds of stuff because everything's streaming now. We already cut our cable because we just didn't really watch TV that much. But, you start with Netflix, and now it's Paramount, and now it's Peacock, and now it's, like all these different streaming services, and they're just milking everybody's accounts. So if you're trying to create some room in your budget, check out your what you have that you're paying for that you're really not using, or that you can, just not use for, the upcoming 6 months or something like that. Gaming, I don't personally game. There's a lot of people that game out there. There's a lot of money that gets spent on gaming. That includes even the little games on your phone. The little microtransactions really, really add up month to month. I mean, if you're spending $50, $60, $100 a month on games, that can directly be applied to your business with advertising and systems. Cable bills, phone bills, shop around, cut them, whatever it is. I don't even run a landline here at my house. I don't see any use for it. Everybody knows my cell phone. I haven't had a home phone number in probably 10 years. Insurance, shop it out. See if you can get something a little more affordable. $50 here, $30 here. You know, if you trim up all of this stuff, you're going to find $300 in your budget very, very quickly. You know, the gourmet coffee, getting your Starbucks, things like that. I don't even get outside coffee anymore. I drink coffee from home all the time. The only time I get outside coffee is when I'm meeting somebody. So I'll take someone to coffee or something like that. And that is both a networking meeting for me and I guess a treat, but I personally like the coffee that I buy. So that doesn't bother me. And then check your benefits. You know, if you're a member with the association or a realtor board, check the benefits on there with CAR, NAR, and your local board. You'll be shocked at either the discounts you can get there or the free stuff that they order or that they have available. One of them that is provided by NAR is a branding kit, which is a free website, free CRM, and free domain name. It's a .realtor or .real estate name. So, you know, choose your name .realtor, and that'll be your domain name that you can put on your business cards and everything else. So there's a lot of free and discounted services and tools that you can find just from your board memberships. There is a few things going on in chat. I'm going to just let that run if you guys want to jump into chat and have some conversation too. Other things to think about: garage sale. You know, what do you have around the house that you can get rid of? Extra cars, motorcycles, old gaming stuff, household goods, bicycles. I mean, I got a garage full of stuff that I don't really use. And I'm sure if I had a garage sale, I'd probably make at least $500-600, which is basically a month of advertising or 2 months of advertising. And all I did was get rid of stuff that I'm not using. So basically with a little bit of decluttering. So make it a goal to create some space in your finances for an advertising budget. It is very important, and you have to get a little uncomfortable if you are just in a spot right now where you're just not feeling any momentum moving forward. Get yourself an advertising budget and start working on you know, an abundance mindset, and you will see things start to shift. I promise you, it happens every time. So we'll go step 3, putting in the work, and then we'll get to the roadmap. So just a few statistics for you. A lot of times we fool ourselves into, oh, I worked, you know, I'm working on my business. You're saying these things, but you're not actually doing it. Like I'm trying, you know, to generate more listings. Well, what are you doing? Well, you know, I talked to somebody today, but you need to be talking to lots and lots and lots of people every day. So, you know, when we're talking about income producing activities, actually sitting down, making calls, sending out emails, creating flyers, working on social media, whatever it is that you're doing other than just scrolling social media or, you know, reading an article, we're talking about income producing activities. How much of it are you doing per week? And here's some statistics for you. 20 hours a week really is only going to net you a sale or two this year of income producing activities. And part of this is due to just general market conditions. The sales volume nationwide is just down right now. And this is a reality that we're in. It's not your fault. It's not our fault. It's just the reality of the market. So you have to make these adjustments. And part of the adjustments is actually putting in more time and effort on income producing activities, which we will go through in the next section. So if you're putting in less than 20 hours a week, just plan on a sale or two this year, because that's probably what you're going to get. Working 60 hours a week. Okay, so now we're talking about someone full-time, putting in a ton of work. yeah, they're making six figures easy. And this is like a median here. If you're in a high cost area, obviously that kind of work is going to net you a whole lot more than $145,000 in a year. Or if you're in a less expensive area, it might be a little less than that. You're still going to earn six figures if you're putting in that kind of work. I can guarantee it. So if you're putting in, 30, 40 hours a week, like you would at any job of actual income producing activities, you're probably going to make 80 to 100 grand this year pretty easily. You're going to do 8 to 10 sales. That's pretty much a given. So, really look in the mirror and, ask yourself, are you actually putting in the time, or are you just telling yourself you're working on it? And get yourself on, a regiment, and get yourself in the correct mindset to really implement the next section that I'm going to talk about. So I named this "How to Generate Listings Without Dancing on TikTok." I did that because social media isn't for everyone. I use social media to run ads and for online presence, but truthfully, I am not much of a sharer on social media. I should be. It's an important part of the business. It's just, I spend a lot of time talking to people, and usually by the time I'm done talking to everybody, I'm kind of tired and I don't think about, posting something on social media. So I'm one of those people that, just is not that active on social media. I generate business in other ways. So that's kind of the focus on today's webinar. So there's a thing out there called 135. It's also known as GPS. What is GPS? Goals, priority, strategy. So, and you're still using the 135 method. To preface this can be a little overwhelming if you're looking at it for the first time, as far as how much work this could be. So just make it whatever works for you. Maybe it's 1, 2, 3 instead of 1, 3, 5. So one goal, 2 priorities, and 3 strategies. Maybe that's a little easier for you to swallow rather than 1 goal, 3 priorities, 5 strategies. That can be a little overwhelming. So the key, this is your business, so you have to do what works for you. Again, you do need to get out of your comfort zone, but at the same time, you have to make it manageable. If you have a full-time job you're working, or a part-time job, or another gig, or whatever it is, make it fit into your lifestyle so that it will work. I went with the 135. So if you want to tailor this down a little bit, you can, but I created this as if I wanted to do this for myself. And with me not being a big sharer on social media, this is how I geared this. And I also geared it to not have a huge monthly budget, something that's very affordable, entry-level budget. So my priorities, if I wanted to generate a listing a month, would be to boost up my online presence, direct reach out, and communicating with my sphere of influence. That's SOI. So those would be my 3 priorities. So strategy. So we're starting. So we set 1 goal. We define 3 priorities, which is these 3 right here. And now we're going to implement 5 strategies for the priorities. So we'll start with the online presence. Now, online presence it's a long game, okay, but it has to be done. When I first got into business, real estate websites were kind of becoming a thing. Not everybody had them. Not everybody knew what to do with them that well, but search engine optimization was much more basic back then, and I kind of figured it out a little early on. So I think it was around 2004. I got a real estate website for myself, and I started putting a lot of content on it. and I figured out kind of the, search engine optimization algorithm and stuff like that. And all I wrote about basically was communities in my area. And I got that information online because I wrote about a lot of new home communities, square footages, who the builder was, about where they were located, special features they had for the community, things like that. And what that started to do was boost up my ranking in, in Google, and people would just find my site organically. So that is where I would get a fair amount of buyer leads, actually. I didn't really get a lot of listing leads through there. Although long-term, your buyers eventually turn into sellers if you keep in contact with them. So while I say I didn't get a lot of listings from it, I did, but later on, that was the after effect of selling them that home. So, working on some of this online stuff, it's both so you can be found, but it's also a reinforcement to other things that you're going to do, such as mailers or anything else, because people will search you out. If they run across your information and they're interested in your services, they're gonna search out your name plus realtor plus real estate plus the city you're in or something like that, and see if there's any reviews, see if you're a real person, so on and so forth. There's a lot of scams out there. So, people do their research. So this is all kind of long game stuff, and it's just stuff you should work on on a weekly basis just to kind of get it going. And this is going to help you more in the long run. So website, again, if you want a free one, it's www.get.realtor/kit. That is your free branding kit. There's no excuse not to have a website with CRM and a domain name. It's free over here if you are a NAR member. Websites act as your lead generator. A false expectation is I'm going to get a website and I'm going to get leads through it. That is true if you are driving traffic to the website. I still use it today for recruiting purposes. I use our website as our lead generator. Can it be found organically through certain search terms? Yes, probably. Am I number one on Google? No, not yet. But I am up there. But mostly I am driving traffic with a Google pay-per-click or maybe a Facebook ad to my website for to generate the conversation that I'm trying to generate, which is bringing more people onto our team. So that is how I use it. It is the exact same for generating listing and seller listing and or buyer leads. Use the website to generate the lead, but you have to drive traffic there. But the website is a core component, so you want to have one. Facebook business page. Again, this is more for online presence. You do need to have one. They're simple to create. You'll want to also connect your ad account to it in case you decide to implement Facebook ads later on down the road, but you can only connect it to a Facebook business page. You can't connect it to your personal account. So you do want to have one. A good practice, is new listings, solds, market statistics, anything like that you want to post should go to your business page. And then from there, you can share it out to your personal page. But you should post first on your business page because then you will drive people back to your business page. And that is where they start, following you a little bit more about your real estate related content. Google My Business. This is a big one. I have a full, I don't know, I guess it's a roadmap as well that I bought from someone. It's how I optimized our Google My Business page. It's super easy to do. Our marketer Leo, he does do these as well. If you need help with your Google My Business page, this is where I recommend soliciting your reviews. Actually, it's the only place that I display my reviews. or that I ask for them for. I used to do Zillow, but personally, I am trying to get my sphere of influence off of Zillow and, searching me on Google instead. So that's my personal thing. You can also do things such as getting Google screened and things like that. So when someone types in, find a local realtor in my area or something like that, there are certain people on there that are Google screened that they move to the top. They've just gone through a few extra steps. So look into that. And then you can pay for extra, Google juice if you want to be higher up, but this is something you can do later on. Professional profiles, at least with the big guys, Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, and LinkedIn. Again, this is long game stuff, but if someone is going to search your name and you don't show up on Zillow or any of these other places, you're losing credibility. So at least have your bio done, get yourself a professional headshot or some sort of decent headshot, and fill in the profiles. They're free on these sites, and they show up in Google when someone Googles your name as a realtor. So I highly recommend that. And then lastly, YouTube channel. I highly recommend getting one of those together, even if you're not going to be posting, video content in the form of, community videos or explainer videos or anything like that. At minimum, you can at least put your drone shots if you had them done on a listing. You can put together little listing videos, and that stuff stays, it's sticky on the internet. It stays on the internet for a long time. There's ways that you can maximize it, but even if you're not going to, you don't want to get in front of the camera and do that kind of stuff, that is where you can post those other types of videos, because again, this will show up in a Google search. So these would be the 5 things that I would do to help boost my online presence, and not a single one of these costs any money. These are all free. So the next thing I would do, so now we're looking at direct reach out. This is number 2 on my priorities. So what does direct reach out look like? Well, I'm trying to generate listings. So where am I going to find the people that want to sell? Well, expired listings are one of them. There's 2 different ways to attack expired listings. One is going after older expired listings, and the other ones are the fresh expired listings. And those are the ones where, the homeowner is probably getting 100 calls that day. So those can be very challenging. So you might focus on that, and also older expired listings, ones where, realtors are not calling on anymore. But, obviously these people were ready to sell. They were listed before. So you already have the answer to, hey, I want to sell my home, like they already want it. FSBOs, same thing. Around 85% of the FSBOs out there end up working with an agent. So there's a lot of YouTube content out there if you want to watch what others do about approaching FSBOs, talking to FSBOs. There's lots of different ways to approach that, but it should be incorporated. These people are also yes people. They've already answered your question. Do you want to sell your home? Yes, they want to sell their home. They have it listed for sale by owner. All you have to do is connect with them somehow. Open houses, and you might say, hey, that's for generating buyers. I know agents out there that take all of their listings from open houses because they do open houses every single weekend. Photo on the signs, flags everywhere, it's a whole thing that they do every weekend. And the people in the community know who that agent is. They see him every single weekend. They walk in and they say, oh, I live down the street. I've actually been thinking about selling my home too. I see you out here every weekend. You clearly know the neighborhood, that kind of stuff. So This can be used for open houses as well as buyer leads. And some of those buyers that walk in also need to sell their home. A buyer lead is sometimes also a seller lead. So think about that. Direct mail is not dead. We have agents here taking listings off of direct mail. I have in the past 6 weeks as well from a direct mail campaign. So this is a very easy one to put together. You can do it every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks. And I know you might think that this could be a huge, huge expense. And yes, it can be. But if you curate your audience correctly, as far as the most likely to sell homeowners in that farm area that you are targeting for the mailer, then you can do a direct mail campaign for about $100 a month and sending your mailers to, the most likely to sell homeowners in a community. This is a bit of a long game as well, although you can get a call your very first mailer that goes out. Keys are you have to have a very strong value proposition and you have to have a good call to action, meaning how are they going to get a hold of you? So and I can talk about that privately if you have questions about that stuff. I built my listing business off of direct mailers. Again, this was a long time ago, but it's no different now. If you're getting mailers from realtors consistently, it's because it works. And that's what they do. And that's how they built their business. So, and lastly, Facebook ads or Google PPC. Google PPC isn't necessarily direct reach out. I mean, you're running an ad, people are searching for that particular thing. Facebook ads are, I guess, a little bit more of a direct reach out because at least you're putting something across someone's face. But having a small budget for this, one or the other to get started with is ideal because you always want these contacts coming in. They may not list today, they may not list next week, but if they inquired, it's because they're thinking about doing something. So you have to keep in contact with these people. So these would be the 5 things I would do for direct reach out as far as my strategies. And lastly, sphere of influence. Well, pretty much all of my listing business these days comes from my SOI, pretty much all of it. I do mailers in small amounts. So things that you can work on, and again, this is not necessarily money driven. A lot of it's time driven. Online reviews, get your Google My Business page set up and start soliciting reviews. Even if you don't have any sales, I'm sure you have friends and family that support you and they want to see you succeed. And can they give you a character review? They totally can. They can talk about what a great person you are, that you're ethical and, your background, whatever it is, like they can give you a really nice character review and it's still a review and people want to see the stars when they Google your name. So networking with real estate adjacent professionals. What does that mean? We're talking about people in financial services, attorneys, contractors, landscapers, tax preparers, people like that. A lot of times know when somebody is getting ready to sell. And a perfect example of that is actually my gardener. My gardener is the gardener for the HOA for the community I used to live in. And when I moved to my current residence, I asked him if he could do my landscaping here. He said, yeah, because it's close enough to the other place. And he has told me 3 different times about when somebody's getting ready to sell because he's been gardening, doing the landscaping in that other community for a long, long time. And he knows when like one of the owners passed away. That's usually when he tells me, he says, I think they're going to sell over there. And he's always right. So, networking with these people that know when somebody's going to be selling, attorneys can be, usually death related, death or divorce. Those people generally have to sell. Contractors, are they remodeling a house so that it can be sold for a higher price? That's one. tax preparers. A lot of times they know if somebody needs to sell a house or is getting prepared to, maybe relocate or something. Host a public event. This one does cost a little money. It can be small though, and you can start like an ice cream social or something, very small and affordable. It could be a couple $100s by the end of the time. You can host it at your local, Menchie's or yogurt shop or something like that if you want. Once a quarter, twice a year, just, basically a client appreciation party. Those are really good uses of advertising budget. Sponsoring youth sports, music, academics, or volunteering at their events. This is a great way to get involved in your community, do a good thing, and also meet other people. I coached my kids' soccer teams for, I don't even know, probably 8 years, maybe longer. I was always a coach or an assistant coach. And actually at the time, my friend or the other guy that we usually switched off with, he was either the main coach and I was assistant, or I was the main and he was assistant. He was a lender. So it was kind of funny. And that's, he got a lot of business from there as well, because people, we weren't advertising this, but people just knew. So through conversation. And lastly, newsletters, underrated, but highly necessary. You can do this in video format. That's probably preferred, but if you're shy on camera, there's lots of newsletter formats out there now. You can go to Canva and pick one up. And really, you're just talking a little bit, provide some market statistics, maybe where, the market is headed, things that happened, and at least send it out once a month to your sphere of influence and let them know you're still around and still selling real estate. So that's all I have. Ran a little bit over today, but if you want a copy of this, I'm going to throw it into the Facebook group underneath this video in the comments section. So if you want to grab this, again, this isn't for everybody. This is what I would do because I am not a TikTok person and I don't dance on camera. So if you are also not that person, then maybe this is something that resonates with you a little bit more. If you are that person that loves social media and knows, enjoys being on it, then, make your strategy and your priority. Maybe it's more focused on social media and doing some of those things. So you can cater these things however you want. Again, doesn't have to be as robust as this was, as far as so many things that you're doing for each priority. You can make it a 1, 2, 3, a 1, 3, 5, whatever you want, whatever works for you is what I encourage you to use. So hopefully that just kind of gets the wheels turning a little bit. I'm always available if you'd like to schedule a time to go over some marketing stuff. The link is in my email if you want to schedule an appointment with me. Otherwise, we got lots of content in the back office or on YouTube. I have a lot of stuff on YouTube as well. So hope everybody has a great week, and we'll be in touch.